Hello, Dr. Westman here, Dr. Eric Westman with Adapt Your Life, and I wanted to update you on the July events that are happening in the Midwest. So the Adapt team is coming to the Midwest US. Glenn Finkel comes in from South Africa, and Lisa Becker comes in from Southern California. And what will happen is on July 13 in Chicago, there will be a day-long event where you don't have to travel very far, you don't have to pay much money, but you can learn about the local keto experts that we've identified. And we bring out, hi Stacy. We bring out local experts and also bring in content about keto diets. So in Chicago, July 13, we'll be in Minneapolis the next weekend on July 20, and then in Terre Haute, Indiana on July 27. So please, hey Mary, please spread the word, tell your friends and neighbors, and I'm convinced more and more this is a grassroots movement. It has been for a long time. Hi Jen, updating you on the latest ADAPT events for July in the Midwest. I also wanted to tell a little story about the keto fastosis warriors in Indonesia. It's a great story of how a movement can grow, and maybe in a way you didn't expect. So in Jakarta, just a few months ago, I was invited to attend a meeting. Georgia Eid came from the U.S., and Dr. Gary Fetke came from Tasmania, or from Australia. And we experienced a 3-day conference put on by Tio, Brother Tio, Mas Tio he's called. And I didn't really fully understand how this group came about, but there are over 350,000 people now in the Keto Fastosis Indonesia Facebook group. So it turns out Tio has gone around to convince all these people to do keto and put on this 3-day event. Well, as I learned about it, hi Jenny, please tell everyone about the Terre Haute event, and also Minneapolis and Chicago. The ADAPT team is coming through the Midwest in July. But so back to Indonesia, the Keto Fastosis group. So I learned that it all started because Tio, the man who put on the conference, had a son, and the doctor told him that your son has a serious problem. He will never walk, and he will never talk. And Tio is an engineer, not a doctor. So he asked the doctors, hey, online, hello, Sweden. He asked the doctors, well, what's wrong with my child? As engineers do. There are lots of engineers around the world who are now embracing the keto and looking into the detail of it. So as an engineer, he asked what's wrong, and the doctors did a brain scan and determined that he had cerebral palsy and that there wasn't enough myelin in the brain. Now, he didn't know what myelin was, so he started doing some research on myelin. It's a substance in the brain that helps the brain work really well, and in fact, it's necessary for the brain to work well. But myelin is made from cholesterol, and so he's learning, so you need cholesterol to get it in the brain somehow, but cholesterol is such a big molecule that you can't take cholesterol into the brain, so you can't eat it and then have it go in the brain. So what the body does is it uses ketones as the building blocks to make cholesterol that makes the myelin that his son didn't have enough. So he started doing some research about different diets and ketosis and ketone, and he learned about the keto diet for epilepsy. Well, it turned out his son Alif also had epilepsy. And so he put his son on the keto diet, low-carb keto diet, 10 years ago, when the doctor said, there's nothing you can do. He's severely affected. He won't walk or talk. So then, as Tio learned more and more about the diet, what it can do. He learned that you can lose weight by doing a low-carb keto diet. And he didn't know if it was going to help his son, but so he lost 50 pounds. And I saw his pre-post pictures. I mean, right now Tio is lean and looks very fit, like he's never had a problem in his life, but he did. And so he started going around talking to doctors about the biochemistry, not about the food or the religion or anything. It was about biochemistry, and he started talking to patient groups in Indonesia about the biochemistry and how it works. And now there are hundreds of thousands of followers. The Keto Fastosis Indonesia Facebook group is where they basically get together now. So the meeting went really well. There were talks 3 days long with doctors, and there were politicians in the room, of local politicians, but mainly it was 350 people who had experience with the diet. So they were very enthusiastic. It's kind of like an adapt event. When you get 200 to 300 crazy keto people in the same room, it gets, there's a lot of enthusiasm because the lives have been so improved as a result of changing the diet. So 3 days and it's one of these conferences where most of it was in Indonesian, and I don't understand Indonesian, so there was a translator in the back of the room translating it into English, and they understand the science. Hi, Marina. They understand the science there and the latest science, and it was just, we had local Indonesian food, treated to a lot of seafood that was so fresh, not additives, no processed meals like that. At the end of the 3-day meeting, they took us up on stage, gave us these flowers, and there's some photos you can see of us standing up there, and there was this rustling over to the side, and there was this little boy who was being shy and didn't want to get on stage, so they forced Alif to come up on stage, and suddenly Tio starts crying, the whole place, everyone starts crying, because this was the boy who was told, his parents were told he would never walk, he would never talk, and he starts walking up on the stage, and a very emotional scene, let me just say. And so Alif was able to walk. He's not developing totally like most children, but clearly was behaving like a child who didn't want to behave at that time. And I am thrilled to help people one-on-one, and in my patient care today, for example, there are all these people coming in who are getting better, and I focus on people with medical issues in my medical clinic. Most of these people in Indonesia or in the US at ADAPT events have done it on their own without a doctor. Most of them are not on medications, and if you're not on medicine, this is pretty easy to do. But this was inspiring for me. It's very rare for a doctor to be among hundreds of people who are thanking you, and I'm just teaching what has been known for a long time and was forgotten. Hello, hey Amy, hey Bonnie. The Keto Fastosis Indonesia Warriors. So Tio calls his group the Warriors, and I'm trying to figure how to use this in the U.S. in my patient, my people who come to me as patients, and because sometimes it's a battle, sometimes it's a struggle. And the warrior idea is that you have to be tough sometimes and be a warrior to avoid the sugars, avoid the starches, which are causing so much problem and suffering and diabetes and obesity and all these other problems. It's enormous when you think about the toll that it takes on people. Anyway, the Keto Fastosis Indonesia experience for me was huge. I want to just share part of that. I have slides from that. Hi Jude, and my slides that I give now at talks this year as a result of that. Also this spring I traveled to Shenzhen, China, which is outside of Hong Kong, and two of those doctors, dietitian and research doctor, PhD, are here for a month now training on the keto low carb diet in my clinic. So they've been shadowing me and Dr. Yancey and Roy, the nurse's aide, and we now have a new physician assistant that's joining me on a part-time basis to try to see more and more people here at the Duke Clinic. So again, I want to update you on the ADAPT events coming up in July. The ADAPT team will be coming in to create one-day events that don't cost a lot of money. You don't have to travel very far. Please spread the word about these events. We'll be in Chicago on July 13, so it's coming up pretty quickly. There are Eventbrite sites where you can sign up and get tickets. Also in Minneapolis on July 20, and then the next week in Terre Haute, Indiana. I also want to mention that drwestmanonline.com has actually the Westman Warrior Protocol. Well, that's great. I don't really want my name on it, but just because I think this is not mine. It's larger than me, but I know people want to follow. Anyway, so drwestmanonline.com has a link to the ADAPT Eventbrite signups. So you can search for ADAPT event Chicago, July, and find it there. Eventbrite is the site where you sign up. We hope to see you there and hundreds of people who are doing keto and low carb. If you haven't experienced one of these events, it's pretty cool. It's even, we do a once a month low carb event in Durham in the community in the evening, and we get now 80 to 100 people to show up and share their stories. But this is even a little up. The enthusiasm level is even a little higher because people will come out specially for this. It's not just every month. Sherry, come to Omaha. Well, so let me know. Let the ADAPT team know where to go. The way we figure out where to go is people who come up to our attention locally who are keto friendly in terms of practitioners and in terms of support groups. And then people, actually what we've observed is people in the community start learning about local keto friendly doctors that they haven't necessarily learned about before. So we're connecting people in these different areas. I learned about a public health clinic in Athens, Georgia that's using the keto approach in their clinic. The director brought 10 people to learn at the ADAPT event in Atlanta. So a lot going on in the keto world. The ADAPT events, I hope, will propel the community grassroots movement even more. Of course, this means that I'm missing KetoCon and Keto Fest and Low Carb USA, which are the bigger kind of mothership events that are going on in July. Please go to those if you can in those areas, but most people can't afford to pick up and leave for 3 or 4 days. So that's the idea of the ADAPT event, to do it just for a day, or even it's half a day. Mid-afternoon we break. So I hope to see you there. Again, July 13th, Chicago, July 20, Minneapolis, July 27, Terre Haute. And then I want to also mention the drwestmanonline.com, DRWESTMAN online. It will link you to the ADAPT event pages to sign up. And also I've made page 4 become available. I made a special page 4 that has a disclaimer on it. Well, it's really kind of a caution. If you're on medication, be very careful. Don't do this unless you're doing it with someone who understands the medications. But we've made that now available for purchase. Page 4 has been one of those interesting things. It's just the 4th page of our clinic handout, but it's what I bring people back to when they're at a stall. It's where I start people out because I want people to have it work the first time, every time, not to toy around with something that doesn't work. So please send around information about page 4 as well. Again, that can be found at drwestmanonline.com. It links to a selling your PDF website called payloads.com. You can buy it through PayPal or other sorts of internet credit card systems. So I'm pretty excited to have that available already. I'm thrilled to know that there are lots of downloads of this, and any money that I get from this sale actually is put back into low carb keto, either administration or research or education. So check out Dr. Westman online, check out the Adapt Your Life website, Adapt Your Life YouTube channel, where there are lots of videos that I've done there. I'm now seeing people who've binge watched all of my videos, and it's great. I mean, not that you have to watch them all. In fact, I usually find my role now is to make things simpler for people, that it doesn't have to be all that complicated. So Sherry wants to meet other people in Omaha. A great way to just meet is to get on some Facebook groups, some of the big ones, and say, is there anyone that lives in Omaha? There are local support groups that have cropped up in different areas. The ones that started in North Carolina, the ones that I recommend highly because I know them very well personally, Christy Sullivan with the Go Keto with Christy Facebook group and website and YouTube channel, and also Go Keto with Casey Durango. They have followers all over the country. I bet you'll find some in Omaha. And also at the drwestmanonline.com, I have a link to the latest places where you can find doctors in your area who are keto friendly. And so those sites are changing. There are new ones, and I'm going to try to keep up on the latest, because I get questions all the time, like where can I find a local keto friendly doctor. Other things down the road, I'll be in, and check out the drwestmanonline.com for where I'll be. I'd love to meet you in July at the ADAPT events. I'm looking forward to the Dr. Berg Summit in Washington, D.C. Also, I've been invited to teach in several other places outside the U.S. I'll put those up online as soon as I have those firmed up. So, hey Andy, in Florida. Seeing no really questions, great to have you all check in. And I'm eating, sitting down for a Mexican. I said no gracias to the chips. I've heard recently some people will take their own chicharrones or their own pork rinds into the Mexican restaurant and use them with the salsa instead of the chips. That's a nice little hack to do there. Hey Rhonda in Virginia. I get the classic standard of naked fajitas with pico de gallo salad instead of beans and rice on the side as the lunch, and this will probably be my one meal for the day. I am kind of an OMAD guy, having done low carb keto for 20 years, and I don't really have a whole lot of time to do much aerobic activity at the moment. I keep the carbs low, eat when I'm hungry, and don't eat when I'm not hungry, and it works really well. So that's it from Durham, North Carolina. Great to see you all checking in, and hope to see you in Chicago, Minneapolis, Terre Haute, Indiana. Take care now.